Hearing has a narrow but very important focus on the federal law enforcement agency's use of cell site simulator devices, also known as MZ catchers or stingrays. But today's hearing also touches on fundamental questions of privacy that we have grappled with since the founding of this country. When and how can or should the government use technology to locate people? What notice or information, if any, must people be given about the technology used to locate them? To what extent must the government take into account the rights of innocent people who may be sucked into a law enforcement dragnet? And how can we protect our civil liberties and defend the homeland at the same time? These are essential questions. Today's hearing won't give us a definitive answer to all these questions, but I hope that representatives from DHS and DOJ will be able to shed light on some of them, and that this conversation will begin to reveal answers on others. Tracking a person's movements for an extended period of time can reveal almost anything and everything about them: what establishments they frequent, whether or not they are churchgoers, who their friends are, and their day-to-day hobbies. Geolocation is more than a record of where you are or were, it's a window into who we are. The founders considered the ability of average citizens to keep things private from the government of such importance that they built it into the Constitution. Thanks to the Fourth Amendment, we have the right to be secure in our persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Simply put, unless and until law enforcement can convince a judge to issue a probable cause warrant, they don't get to disrupt that security. Cell site stimulator devices work by impersonating a cell phone tower and forcing all mobile phones within range into connecting with the device. Once a stingray connects with a cellular phone, it is able to identify that cell phone's unique identifying number and to identify the approximate location of the phone. There are also collateral consequences for the owners of non-targeted phones in the area. While searching for the target phone, the device will also make contact with other non-target cell phones that happen to be within range of the simulator device, even if those phones' owners are not suspected of criminal wrongdoing. After considerable congressional, public, and media interest, both DOJ and DHS decided to create agency-wide policies governing the use of these devices. While there may be some lingering concerns about the substance of the policies, which we will discuss here today, imbalance of policies are a big step forward for DOJ and DHS and a win for transparency and privacy advocates everywhere, as well as this is a win for the American people. What does worry me, however, is that it took the extra scrutiny to convince DOJ and DHS to make these changes, and I remain troubled that federal law enforcement is still not embracing transparency the way they need to in 2015. I know, and I think better than most, the need for the government to keep certain things secret from the public. Secrets in the wrong hands get people killed, but secrecy is a double-edged sword. Right now, only about 1 in 4 Americans trust the federal government. If you do not have the trust of the people you are fighting for and with, you have nothing. I commend DOJ and DHS for their efforts here. But this can't be the exception. Law enforcement must continually strive to appropriately balance privacy and security issues in the digital age, and they must continue to be transparent with Congress and the public about the choices and trade-offs we face. I hope today's hearing is a small step in beginning to bridge the gulf that has developed between our nation's policies and the citizens they're meant to protect. Our witnesses today are Elena Tyrangil, the Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General for Office of Legal Policy at the U.S. Department of Justice, and Seth Stoddard, the Assistant Secretary of Threat Prevention and Security Policy at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I thank the witnesses for being here today and look forward to their testimony. And now it's a pleasure